Welcome back to Tackle the Numbers, the channel with disappointing news for Seattle and Houston fans. My name is Alistair Poole. As always, this video is also available as a podcast. If you'd rather listen than watch, follow the link in the video description. Let's get straight into last week's matches. Old Glory hosted the Nola Gold at Segra Field. Nola were expected to take it by 6, 27-21, and that prediction was nearly dead on. The final score had them winning by 4, 25-21, and it was a closely contested match the whole way through. But Old Glory couldn't quite overcome a long dry spell quickly enough. The 3 yellow cards against Nola certainly afforded an opportunity, though. For the Gold, this was not a great match. Discipline issues aside, their attack has sunk to minus 4.6 points, their lowest mark this season. That's not great for a team that is still seeking a playoff spot. Their defensive baseline also got worse. At 22.3, it's better than average in the league, but it's also a far cry from the other playoff hopefuls. Overall, they stand at a 1.5 point combined margin. For Old Glory, this match was an improvement. Their defense improved to 28.5 points, which is approaching average, but their attack took a hit again, dropping to minus 2.4 points. Overall, that led to an improved minus 1.6 point combined margin. They have a bye week coming up, so they'll have a chance to catch their breath. The next match saw Toronto visit Austin. The AGs were expected to hold this one at home by 2, 23-21. While the model got Toronto's score exactly correct, it underestimated Austin, who won in a blowout 47-21. A roaring second half by Austin left the Arrows absolutely obliterated. Understandably, this tanked Toronto's ratings. They crashed to 32.7 points in their defensive baseline, which is not a good place to be. Their attack actually did rise marginally to minus 0.6 points, but that's not remotely enough to offset the defensive drop. Overall, that leaves them at a minus 3.5 point combined margin, their worst of the year. Austin, meanwhile, has been slowly recovering from their blowout at Utah a few weeks ago. They improved on defense to 19.2 points, a respectably good mark. They also improved significantly on attack, although only to minus 0.8. Even 47 points in one sitting was not enough to completely wipe away how much this team has struggled on attack. Their combined margin has once again moved upward to 3.9 points. In Utah, we saw yet another insane match, with Legion visiting the Warriors. San Diego was expected to win this by 3, 27-24, but that prediction did not hold up in the slightest. The Legion led the entire time, often by sizable amounts. With 10 minutes to go, they had a 3-score lead. However, Utah managed to pull a win out of thin air by scoring 3 tries, the last at the death, to come away with it, 45-41. They're starting to make this last-minute win thing a habit. This match was pretty hard on San Diego's defensive rating. They slipped to 28.3 point defensive baseline, a significant regression. They did get a modest boost to their already great attack, which rose to an even 8 points, but their inability to play defense knocked them back to a 0.6 point combined margin. Utah is easily the most unbalanced team in the league. Their attacking average has been skyrocketing, and with this match it hit 13 points. This is the best in the league and one of the best ratings ever. But on defense, they are not good, and this match only made things worse. They now have a 33-point defensive baseline, second worst in the league. That means despite their attacking prowess, they are at a minus 1 point combined margin, below average. After that, we had a huge matchup between the top teams in the East, with Rugby ATL visiting Rooney. Atlanta was expected to take it by 2, 19-17. However, the Roosters managed to upset the Rattlers, 31-24. They took the lead early and never relinquished it. This match knocked Atlanta down a peg, mostly because their defensive baseline took a hit. Went from tied for the best in the history of the MLR to merely very, very good at 16.5 points. On attack, they stayed roughly the same, dropping just slightly to 0.8 points. Overall, that leaves their combined margin at 5.8 points. that's still a great place to be. Rooney has also dropped on defense, although less than Atlanta. They currently have a 17.3 point defensive baseline. However, this drop was almost entirely offset by a huge jump in their attacking average, which now stands at 6.4 points, third best in the league. Overall, the effect on their combined margin is negligible, moving down just a fraction to 6.4 points. Another match that was very close to my predictions was Seattle at New England. The model had this one as a toss-up, 23-23. However, it did give a slight edge to the Free Jacks, who ended up winning 25-21. The match was neck and neck all the way through, with Seattle mostly leading. But once again, the Seawolves just couldn't hold on for a win. Seattle fans should at least take some solace in the fact that their team isn't actually bad. Sure, they can't seem to win any games, but they are hanging right around average, with a combined margin of 0.2 points. Their defense, which really didn't change this week, is better than average at 24.1 points, and their attack did drop a bit after this, though, to minus 5.8 points. Still, all the people talking about burning it all down and starting over should reconsider. They really are almost there. They just need some, leadership, X factor, something to get them wins in the close matches. Free Jacks also didn't move very far with this match. Their defense stayed basically level at 25.9 points, while their attack dropped a point to 0.8 points. Overall, that led to a very small decrease in their combined margin to 0.5 points. They continue to be the most average team in every regard. The next match had the largest score differential in MLR history, which is the second time that this record has been broken this season. Houston visited LA and got destroyed to the tune of 52-5, a 47-point differential. It was only a try at the 75th minute that saved Houston from another goose egg. LA was obviously expected to win this one, but by a far more reasonable 26-16. Clearly, they felt they had a point to prove. For Houston, this was a massive step back. Just as they were starting to get something together, this result set them back quite a ways. Their attack dropped to a record low minus 13.2 points, giving them the worst attack in MLR history. While on defense, they dropped significantly to 34.5 points. That puts them at a bad minus 7.1 point combined margin. Unlike Seattle, Houston probably should clear house and start over. Something there is clearly not working. Meanwhile, LA started heading back in the right direction. Their attack stayed perfectly level at 4.2 points, which may seem weird given they just put up 50 plus points, but their blowout of Old Glory dropped out of the average this week, so on balance, there's still only one good performance in the average. On defense, they improved to 13 points, tying the best defensive rating ever in the league. That puts them back on top with an 8.4 point combined margin. In the rankings this week, LA rose to the top spot, followed by Rooney, while Atlanta dropped to third. In fourth is Austin, who are continuing to climb back up the rankings. After that is Nola, who stay in fifth, followed by San Diego, who dropped a couple after their battle with Utah. New England and Seattle continue to hold 7th and 8th respectively. Utah managed to rise one spot to 9th, while Old Glory rose 2 spots to 10th. In 11th are Toronto, while Houston once again comes in last. In the playoff race, we have our first official eliminations. Houston and Seattle are mathematically eliminated after last week. Honestly, that's no great surprise. San Diego is still clinging to a small chance at the playoffs with a 3% chance. They really did miss their shot by losing to Utah this week. And speaking of Utah, they are in a really good position to make it now. They have a 78% chance. Austin still does have some chance, though, at 21%. In the East, no one is mathematically eliminated yet, although Toronto could be after this week, depending on how the matches play out. Old Glory is further from official elimination, but also has no appreciable chance. Rooney and Atlanta have the best chances with about 75% each. Rooney's win last weekend really made a big difference, securing them a spot. Nola is the most likely team to steal a spot from them with a 32% chance, although they have no more home games, which could set them back. Meanwhile, New England is sitting at 16%. That is still a reasonable chance, but they are going to need everything to play out in their favor, even if they win all of their remaining matches. On to the matches next week. We have Utah heading to New York. Rooney is expected to take this one by 7, 29-22. That's a 70% chance to win. However, I really wouldn't put it past this Utah team to get an upset. In all likelihood, they will be down heading into the final minutes and score at the death to win it. Next up will be Houston heading to Atlanta for one of the most lopsided predictions yet. Rugby ATL is expected to win by 13, 29-16. That's an 82% chance to win. It's a large line to cover, but I really don't see anything in Houston that gives me hope that they can challenge Atlanta. Hopefully, they can at least keep things competitive. Another large line will be LA visiting San Diego. LA is expected to take it by 8, 26-18, which is a 71% chance to win. I really want to like the Legion in this match. They will be finally back at home in Torero Stadium with fans in the stands. For a team that has been basically on the road all season, it's gotta feel good to be back. But only a few teams have been able to hang with LA this season, and I don't know if San Diego have it in them. A win here would really give them a boost in the playoff race, though. Next up, we have Toronto hosting the Nola Gold. Nola is expected to win this one by 5, 27-22. That's a 64% chance to win. For Nola, this is an absolute must-win if they want to have a chance at the playoffs. And for Toronto, they're going to have to get some wins in the books before they lose most of their starting lineup to international tests in a couple of weeks. Finally, we have Austin visiting Seattle. Austin is expected to take this one by 4, 23-14. That's a 61% chance to win. Hard to say who needs this more. For Austin, playoff hopes are on the line. But for Seattle, it's about getting some returns for the quality of play they've been putting out. It's hard to be so close and yet come away with no wins. So will definitely be high on my list of matches to watch this week. Well, that's all from me for this week. If you want to pick against my numbers or check out all of the charts and graphs, you can head over to tacklethenumbers.gloriousrugby.com. If you have questions or comments for the show, contact me at tacklethenumbers@gloriousrugby.com. Till next time, folks.